much for joining me, sir. It was good to be in attendance here and listen to you as you gave your very comprehensive and first budget address. What was that like for you this morning?
Well, in the beginning, believe it or not, after being in politics for 20 years, I was a little nervous with the standing orders part. I knew what to do, but I guess with the first time being Minister of Finance, you watched it for 20 years. But when the time comes to actually do it, it's different when you're in the shoe. So made some errors, but that's normal in new positions and normal in life. But we rebounded from that and did the budget address. And it went well. As I said, the budget was already in train before we got there. And no offense to the former administration, you had to do it because the drop dead date is April 30th. So getting the budget to be massaged to include some things for the new administration has been a challenge. We have a few things that we did get done, which I mentioned in the budget address. And we will monitor spending and also massage it some more to make sure that more of the budget reaches the people of the Virgin Islands and not other areas that don't really benefit the people.
Yeah, I noticed that you mentioned the fact that each district will be allocated, I think, equally.
Yes.
So what is the idea and what can people, like, break that down a little bit, what they can truly internalize as beneficial to them, everybody belonging to a district?
Right, each district representative gets the same amount of money. I must highlight that this isn't the first it has been done. But not only will we make sure that each district gets the same amount of money, we're going to also make sure that each district representative has the same level of respect and access to the money. The problem was when I was in the opposition, you would get the same amount of money, but you didn't have access to it. And even when you went to it and you got good words, you could use it, it would be finished and you wouldn't know that it was finished. I resented that because when you are elected to represent people and they come to you and you cannot perform for them because someone is in your way, it's a very helpless and hopeless feeling. So I respect every person that's elected, the district representatives, and I've instructed the ministers and I've directed them. I said, make sure that money is spent in collaboration and in consort with the district representative. Of course, it'll have to be along the lines of programs that the government is doing, but that they will have full access to it and be able to have a say in it. It's only respectful to respect persons that the electorate have sent to elect them.
So speaking of collaboration, I hear that a lot coming from you, it seems. And you committed to the public that you will be consulting them on important matters. Why is that of import to you?
Well, the majority of matters, as much as will allow, you're going to consult the public because that's how I got here. That's how this government got here. And I was in the opposition and that's how I operate. And I believe in bringing people together so that you could sit down, agree to disagree, and then come up with the best solutions. When we leave, the final conclusion or decision I make mightn't be one that persons like or would have done, but at least they can say that their input was heard, because you always have to make a decision at the end of the day when you're leading if you want to be an effective leader and try to make it as calculated as possible. But once you hear the views of the people, you can take in consideration of a lot of things. Plus, persons who are not in the House of Assembly usually have a better and unique view to what you're discussing than you who are in here that you didn't see or think on that can add value to what you're doing.
I know that you're starting immediately with that type of consultation because this evening you will be down in the second district in first district, in Capoons Bay.
Right.
Concerning what, sir?
That's concerning the Western Ferry Terminal. It's a project that the RDA will be doing, but it's one that has to get going, not because I'm the representative of it. Of course, it's good to know that, but it's because that it is one of the largest revenue makers for government. So since Orma, almost 18 months ago, it has been done with no meaningful attention given to it to allow international travel in terms of the ferries to come from St. Thomas, St. John, and abroad. And a lot of economic activity that is being lost by there not being open. So one of the areas that I ran on was to move with haste to fix our ports or schools in certain areas as quickly as we can. So we put this project on the front burner, and I told them that although we don't have all the plans yet, the conceptual designs that we have, before they are crystallized, let us go to the people and get their views and opinions, because we'll be able to incorporate it in the final design.
Right. I know that you mentioned that there's quite a bit of revenue that comes through that area, and you spoke to the two pillars, tourism and financial services. So will this be a boost to the tourism dollar, even though we came out of 2017 with certain, we increased well after the disasters of 2017. But what's the optimism in the areas of tourism relative to that?
Quite optimistic, because we have invested more monies in rebranding the territory in this budget, and we want to make sure that those monies hits its target. And because the Western Ferry opening is only a plus. If you study the figures of the revenue by the Western Ferry, it is the second largest revenue maker for customs and for ports. So that alone in itself tells you the urgency to get it open. The tourists frequent there quite more than even Rotong when it was open. And it's more convenient for most people who live in the central part of Tortola down to the western end. It's also good for the people in Johnson Dykes, because they get a check-in at West End rather than have to go all the way down to come back to Johnson Dykes after leaving to go to, from St. Thomas. So it's convenience. It also allows for more revenue, and it's the right thing to do.
Well, that's the tourism pillar. What about the financial services sector? What do you want to expand on that was mentioned relative to that? Because we know that internationally we have certain concerns.
Definitely. Well, first of all, we have to stay on top of our game. And one of the things that we're doing is getting all the areas of our financial services sector, the private sector, the financial services themselves, the International Finance Center, those who are working on the economic substance, to come together in one room to come up with a game plan that will assist in us making a transition for economic substance and for other sanctions that will come down on us, that people look at as negative, but it's really a positive. Because if we're going to get more people to have to do business here physically, then we start to have to prepare our people for what we want to do, to allow them to be ready for that opportunity. So what we have been doing is coming with a collaborative effort. Although each entity has to get ready for certain examinations from the international organizations, but we are coming together so that we can have one plan that will help the people of the Virgin Islands. So if there's a drop-off, it won't be too heavy, but it'll also make up in other areas.
So you've been very comprehensive in your address today about the budget. So I'll just leave you with any final thoughts to the public. You can just look at the camera and by way of Facebook Live address the
I just wanted to thank the people of the Virgin Islands for putting their confidence in my team and myself. I would want to give a special thanks to the people of the 4th District who continue to re-elect me for the 6th consecutive time. I want to assure the public that I know that I'm not just a premier for the 4th District. I want to say thank you to the hard-working public officers, the Ministry of Finance especially, who have worked hard. Also your GIS unit, because I'm working very hard, and you continue to work hard even without me being here. And I want to thank my family, my wife, and all for their encouragement. I want to tell the people of the Virgin Islands that I always said, even in the opposition, during the campaign and now, that we do not have a money problem. Every government that goes in there performs well financially. The problem what we have as of late is a management problem. So we want to make sure that we put in the mechanisms to make sure that we avoid wastage, avoid corruption, make sure that the people's money hit its target and more people can benefit from the money that we make, so that we can see the benefits when we are living day to day. We can see it in the cost of living. We can see it in affordable housing. We can see it in owning our lands, first-time landowners. We can see it in our fisheries, in our agriculture, and education. So we want to make sure that that's the direction that this administration goes. We know it's a challenge, but in one in which we're going to turn into some opportunities for the people of the Virgin Islands. So may the peace of the Lord bless the people of the Virgin Islands, and God bless them.
Thank you very much, Premier and Minister of Finance, Honourable Andrew Fahie. Thank you.